Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar with Ascendus. It's so exciting to be here today. I in a previous life, by the way, we have closed caption below for folks who need it. I worked with Ascendus in under its previous name for many years when I was doing asset building in Somerville. So it's uh, an organization I know well, and I'm so happy to have you all here today to talk about your products. We are, as you all know, the LGBT Chamber of Commerce, and we bring you relevant programming so that you can learn and get benefits from different things that might be good for your businesses. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the torch and we're going to talk a little bit about Ascendus and the different things that you offer. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Thais. Thank you for the introduction, and I'm really excited to be here. I think it's great that you have taken the time. We really appreciate it to put this together. We really want to bring value and a resource to business owners out there. And so, as you mentioned, I work with Ascendus. My name is Diane Borges. I am the lending manager. For those that are not familiar with Ascendus, we are a nonprofit microlender. We have been around for over 30 years, and we were formerly known as Acción East. We just recently changed our name towards the end of 2019. We have been upgrading under Ascendus. We essentially do the same work. Our focus is really around commercial lending. We focus on serving minorities, low to moderate income, and we differ from traditional lenders in that we are able to offer a little bit more flexibility, right? Because we want to be that alternative for those that are not bankable. When it comes to accessing capital, ideally what we want to see is that business owners are able to go to their local bank, their local credit union, someone they trust, and someone who's regulated, because we want them to have access to the better terms and really responsible lenders out there that are not trying to just give money out, but are making a responsible decision at the time of lending and not creating a burden for the business owner. But what happens with these entities? They oftentimes are able to offer great terms, but with that comes a lot of strict guidelines that they have to stick to. And that's when an alternative microlender like Ascendus comes in and tries to be that alternative for those that are not able to access those products because they're not able to meet those guidelines. And so I'll talk a little bit about our requirements and how we differ and how we're a little bit more flexible. But I'll just start with the products that we have available. Currently, we are working with businesses that have at least 6 months in operations, and we just primarily focus on, we do look at personal credit. When it comes to smaller loans and smaller businesses, programs often have a personal guarantee. So that means that the business owner's personal credit is going to be assessed, is going to be looked at, and is also going to have that loan reported on their personal credit. So we're going to be looking at personal credit. We are offering currently in Massachusetts loans that go from $500 to $150,000, and our terms will vary. So we have currently programs that can go from 4% all the way to 9.99%. This is an annual fixed rate. And in terms of credit, our minimum requirements are that those that apply have at least a 575 credit score, that they have no more than $3,000 in past due debts. So anything that could be in collections, charge-offs, past dues, when combined could not be over $3,000. We're able to work with anyone who's had a bankruptcy in the past, as long as he has been discharged for 1 year. So especially in this credit requirements is where a lot of the flexibility we're able to offer comes in. When it comes to traditional lenders, oftentimes banks and credit unions, they're able to go as low as 660, probably, maybe 650 in terms of FICO score. they like to see that a business is established as well. So the timing business, oftentimes they're looking for a business that has been in operations for at least 2 years. We're able to offer our programs to anyone that's been around for at least 6 months, operating for at least 6 months. We're also able to work with anyone who's had a bankruptcy. And that's not something that banks do. If a bank sees that you have a bankruptcy still reported on your credit, they're not going to work with you until that bankruptcy is completely removed. That can take sometimes up to 10 years, for some even longer. So that's just a little bit of an overview of what we do, who we are. For those that are attending, I would like to open the floor, make sure that you feel comfortable to ask any specific questions. We have a Q&A section where you can just throw in your question, or just feel free. I'm not sure if they can unmute and speak in this session, but
No, so there's no unmuting, but they can pop the questions into the Q&A. And just a reminder, folks, that this is a recorded session that's going to go on our YouTube channel. So if you have anything that's particularly sensitive, just submit it as anonymous, and then we can read it in that way. Welcome, AJ. Welcome, Devin. Thank you for joining today. So if anybody has any questions, so just to do a quick recap, Diane, for folks who joined a little bit later. So 575 credit scores,
at least 6 months in operations.
Sorry, six months in operation, no more than $3,000 in past due debt combined. So anything in collections or any of those kinds of things. And what are the so loans between 500 and 150,000?
150,000, correct.
And what are the rates?
Our rates are ranging right now between 4% to 9.99% fixed annual rates.
Perfect. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to mention, in terms of the loan amount, it's really important to understand that we are a micro lender. And oftentimes, if someone's not able to go through, a traditional lender, is because there's something that they probably need to work on, or there's something that's making them to be a little bit higher risk. And so it's really good to come with the right expectations. It might not be the loan amount that you were originally looking for, but what we want to be is that alternative that will help you fill that gap in between and prepare you to then move on to the next step. That's kind of why we also change our name. We like to think of helping businesses ascend and go, escalate that financial ladder. And yeah, our business loans can go up to 150,000, but that's going to be depending on the time that you've been in business. How much are your gross sales? How much can you afford? Your debt to income ratio. We really want to make sure we do a global analysis of financials. So it's not a loan like when you go online and you just take 30 minutes and you put some information and you get approved. We do go through a pretty similar process compared to the banks, but it does take a little bit less time. So on average, I would say we're taking between 9 to 13 business days to process. We're going to look at financials. We're going to determine whether the business is going to have enough income to cover business expenses, personal expenses, and then have some income at the end to cover the payments on that business loan. And depending on the program, we're going to look for a different ratio. So there's going to be some that are more flexible. There's going to be some that are not as flexible in terms of that ratio. And again, the timing business, if you've only been around for a year, you're probably not going to be eligible to apply for the larger loan programs. But after that, then you start looking at larger amounts.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry, go ahead, Diane.
Yes, I see there's a question. Somebody asked, what is the process to apply for a loan? So with us at Ascendus, we like to work by referrals, but we do welcome those who are interested to give us a call and have a conversation. It's really important that you really have a financial advisor that you trust, whether it is someone at your local bank or whether it's someone that it's in the financial industry, and that you can have this type of conversations, because you really should understand that there's multiple options out there, and you should know what they are and make an informed decision. And so oftentimes we work by referrals. We always like that you try and go to your local bank, credit union first, see if it works out. If that's not an option, that's when we jump in, because if they were to be an option, then you should have them as your first option. If they're not your option, then you're able to submit either an application online with us on our website at ascendus.org, or you could give us a call and one of our consultants will be able to get on the phone. I often like times like that more, because when you're inputting information on an online application, you might be out of decline because you submitted something that, maybe was entered wrong or the system interpreted wrong. And when you have that conversation with one of us, then we're able to determine, hey, talk to me a little bit about your business. I'll be able to understand your situation, what your needs are, go over what might be a good program that we have available, or maybe say, hey, maybe at this time we don't have a program that is a good fit, but let's work on this, or let's look at this alternative. And so that's how it works. If we have a conversation and we see that you're a good fit, then you can submit the application online. We can do it together over the phone. We start the application. Oftentimes we work with a soft pull. So when it's first inputted in the system, we're not hurting your credit. We're just trying to determine whether your credit is going to be eligible or not. If it is, we go through a hard pull, and then we go into, obtaining all the documents required, doing the analysis, submitting, and if the loan is approved successfully, then we move into closing. So that's just a quick overview of the process. How long does the process take? Someone asking. As I mentioned, the process can take for us on average between 9 to 13 business days. It is also based on volume, because we process applications in the order when we receive them, and how long it takes you to get all the documents. Because if it's a smooth application, then whenever we request those documents initially and you submit everything, that's when the time starts running. But let's say we come across a situation where you might have a UCC, you might have additional debt, you might have additional things that might raise questions, or that we might want to clarify, or that we might want to see additional documentation. That's going to make the process a little bit longer, because we want to get all that documentation. Another thing that I'll add in that aspect is that when it comes to lending, sometimes it is a red flag to see that a business owner is coming and he or she is just trying to rush into getting the money. Why is this a red flag? Because oftentimes if you need the money now, it kind of says, hey, there's like this great need. Is something happening? Is something wrong? Is the business not generating enough income? So if someone comes and they just want money next day, next week, it is a red flag. Make sure that you're taking the time when you're looking to access capital, because you also want to take the time to understand what you're getting into. Make sure you ask questions. Make sure you understand what the fees are, what the payment structure is. There's a lot of predatory lenders out there right now where you can go online, you can have access to a decent loan size in a small amount of time, couple minutes, you just input information, but then sometimes you don't really understand what the terms that you're getting into are. A lot of these predatory lenders promote a daily interest rate, which they're not saying is daily, but then you're thinking, oh, I'm getting into a 2% loan, 3% loan, and it turns out it's a daily rate. And so once you already have signed, then you realize that, this could be going up to 100%, 300% annual rates. And I've come across that situation where someone wants to refinance this debt, but it's very difficult because these loans tend to drain the business's cash flow very badly. And they also tend to have payment instructions that are not beneficial for the client. So they have daily payment structures or weekly payment instructions, and those type of payments are not easy for a business to handle. They often are withdrawn automatically. So if you have any little money coming in, it's automatically also going out. It's not really allowing you to take the time to use it or to save it for things that you need. And it gets business owners in this cycle where they're just end up, trying to get another one of the same loan to cover the payments for that loan. And so it's not a good thing. So make sure that you really understand the terms, and what you're getting into, that you ask questions, and that you have someone to talk to too, because it's very easy to apply online where there's just a system, but the moment that you have a problem and there's no one that you can ask a question or you can talk to, then that's going to make things even more difficult.
Definitely. I think this is one of those cases of, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Yes,
And as I know you all know this, but just to state the obvious for the umpteenth time, if you ever have any questions about anything and we at the chamber can help you navigate things or figure out or do some research to look into what's what, always feel free to reach out to us. Um, Diane, so what's a good process to have? Should we refer folks to you? Should we make a connection by email? What's the best iteration of the process for you?
definitely. I think oftentimes it's easier and to just, send an email, just a little bit of information regarding the business, the person, and then I'll just reach out, contact them, give them a call, and go from there. I also like to keep the referrals updated. So, I'll be making sure to keep you posted, and let you know if we actually connect.
Perfect. What's a success story that you can share with us? Is there something that you can share that's, without identifying information, or if folks have given you permission with identifying information about one of the businesses that's gone through Ascendus?
Definitely. I have multiple success stories. I'll just share one with you guys right now. Um, I had a women business owner come to us, apply at the time that she came to Ascendus. She was very frustrated. She was feeling that she was getting a no everywhere that she went, and I totally understand that, how that can be frustrating. um, and the process with us was not as simple, again, for the same reason, because if it's not working out in other places, it's probably because there's some things that need to be worked on. And so we began the application. We were flexible enough to be able to process, and we were able to get her a loan, not for the loan amount that she was expecting, but a loan that would help at the moment, with just the right amount, and just the just what she needed at the time. She was initially, I would say, very frustrated. I think she vented with me, and part of the work that we do is not just lend, it's also technical assistance. It's also understanding that there's a person behind that business name, behind those numbers. And so know that when you come to Ascendus, you're not just a number, you're not just a statistic, you're a person, and we're trying to understand what's going on, and we're trying to understand who you are, and we're trying to work with you. And I think she realized that along the way, and for me it was very rewarding, because she called me after everything, and she kind of apologized, but at the same time said, thank you, because I felt like I was working with a person, and I've never felt treated this way with a financial institution before. And so it really adds meaning to the work that I do, um, and it really it really helped me understanding why we do these things, and to be able to see that we were able to offer flexibility, we were able to help a women owned business, someone that didn't see herself as a business. She's a daycare owner. So oftentimes what we see with daycare providers is they don't even see themselves as an actual business, and they are a business. They operate like one. They're reporting taxes like one. And so it was amazing to see that transition. She has been staying pretty close with us, and using and accessing our resources. So that's exactly what we want to see. And she's been able to um, improve her business, and we've been able to see how she's grown and how she's been able to increase her capacity. So that's amazing, amazing to see. It's just one of many stories that we have.
Thank you so much for sharing. And I know that one of our members was featured in some of your materials at the end of the year. Juan, who
Yes, yes, him
um,
as well. I love his story. I love the story behind business. And he's been amazing, and I love that because I feel like when we create this situation where we feel close, and just to throw this out there, he's the one that facilitated this connection with the chamber. So it's exactly what we want to see. It's we as minorities, we want to work together. We want to know that we have each other. We want to create this network and of resources. And so just know that we are there. If there's any questions, if anyone's interested, if they're not sure, please feel free to give me a call, send me an email. I can throw my info on the chat, but I'm not sure if that's going to be um, able to be seen on the recording. But I'll just say it. My email is dbohorquez@ascendus.org. And feel free to reach out. Any questions? Maybe you're not sure. You're starting to look at lending. You're just starting to get your business together, and you want to prepare and get ready, because oftentimes you're not going to be ready for capital right away. It's a process. You have to prepare for it. You want to make sure that you have your financials where they are, and you might want to have that conversation, and we are open to that. So always please feel free to reach out.
thank you so much. And the I was copying your email and you already put it there. So the email is in chat, folks. Thank you so much, Diane. I think there's a question. So what about loans for business specific projects like creating handicapped access or updating electrical? Is that a different type of loan than a general business loan? Is that something you also provide?
That is something we provide. That is just one of the many loan purposes that you could have. So the what we really look when it comes to the loan purpose is that is business related. So for example, if you have I don't know, a restaurant business and you don't deliver food, then there's no reason why you should be having your loan purpose be to purchase a car. But if you do offer delivery services in-house, and one of the reasons is to purchase a car, then yeah, that's definitely a valid reason. We just want to make sure that the loan purpose relates to the business. So that's definitely something that we can do. And yeah, it's just a matter of getting your application through.
Perfect. And I'm sorry, I keep touching my eye because there's something in it. I apologize, folks. I know it's probably not the sightliest of sights. Um, the other thing I wanted to say too, AJ, is that there are some grants that you might be able to access for those kinds of things right now. So if you could please connect with me, um, let's talk a little bit about because those purposes just there are things that pop into my head that might be as Diane said at the beginning of the conversation, the idea is that you go to Ascendus when you can't access a loan from a credit union or a loan from a bank, or maybe some state money to make those changes. And I think there might be some things out there that would be good. So please touch base with me so we can talk it through a little bit more. Any other questions, folks? Please pop them into the Q&A box, and we will answer them. How long has the organization been in operation, Diane? I know it's a long time because when I was working
Yeah.
with you, it was 2005 to 2017. So it's been a bit.
Yes, we've been around for over 30 years now. We serve all states across the US except for Vermont. But programs do vary depending on the state. I would say, if there's anyone outside of Massachusetts or registered outside of Massachusetts, There's a website called Connect to Capital. They have amazing programs with amazing products like New York Forward for New York, the Flex Fund for other different states, which are offering interest rates as low as 3% for large amounts. Oftentimes loan size are going up to 100,000, 150. They have guarantees, so they're very good programs. So if anyone, even for Massachusetts, I think you can go on there and see if there's any product. And what they do is like they're not just connecting you to Ascendus, they're connecting you to other organizations that are in your area that are offering these products that are available to you in your area. So it is a great resource.
Can you repeat the name of the
Connect to Capital with the number 2. Mhm.
seminar? Is it connecttocapital.org?
This is connecttocapital.com. I have it
Okay.
here. I can also throw it in the chat.
I just put
Oh,
it
you did?
in.
Yes.
So there you go, folks. Should you want to explore further, there are some options there.
Yes.
What else? Any other questions? Any other final thoughts? So process, get connected through us. So if you want to get connected, just send me a quick message. I'll connect you to Diane, but you also have her email, so you can just say, hey, met you at the workshop through the chamber, and that way she'll know, and you all know I try to keep tabs on everything to try to measure impact. And so it's just really helpful when those connections are made to identify where they came from, so we can be in touch. And if Diane has any questions, she can ask them, or if I have any questions, and then we can all kind of keep an eye on the process and make sure everything's going smoothly.
Yes. And we really do like to see that, those that are coming to us are coming through a referral partner. So yeah, please always mention if you do reach out where you heard about us. And I think I would just add in terms of accessing capital before we end it, if there's more questions. There's some expectations. It's going to vary depending on the institution, depending on the loan amount. At Ascendus, primarily what we're looking at is in terms of financials is going to be at least 3 months of business bank statements. We're going to be looking at tax returns if you've been around for over a year. We are going to look at profit and loss statements. And so it's really important that you try to have good record keeping, that you report everything. Oftentimes, small businesses don't report what they're making in cash. I think that's a huge mistake, especially if you find yourself growing fast, because then when you apply for a loan and you're not able to really show exactly what the business is generating, maybe you're generating more than you can show on your financials. That's not going to help you access the loan amount that you might need for the growth that the business is having. In terms of bank statements, it's really important that you work on not having overdrafts, non-sufficient funds, that you always have a good end of the month balance, that you keep your business and personal separate. Small businesses tend to always kind of, mix that and use their personal account or use their business account to pay for coffee, to pay for groceries, to pay for things here and there. That takes a little bit away from how formal the business is, and it does weaken the application a little bit. So I would recommend really working on that. I think that's just some of the advice, and making sure that you take the time to apply, because for you to get a loan that was made through a responsible decision, it's not something that's going to happen in a little bit of time. It's going to be a process.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, the preparation advice too, because I think that's important. I love that you do a soft pull first, because that tends to be a little bit of a hiccup sometimes for folks. So it's really great that you guys do that, and that if somebody maybe isn't quite ready to pursue a loan, that there's this chance to kind of cure the issues that need to be dealt with, and then maybe come back once they're dealt with. But yeah, you all hear me saying this all the time. Separate everything out. Um, and now you've heard it from the loan maker as well. So, it's not just me. Uh, it's not just me being picky. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here today. Thank you to everybody who joined us. There's some information in the chat, so please copy that now, because once we're once we leave, that will all get lost. But if you need to get connected to Diane and you haven't had a chance to copy the email, I can connect you. Any other resources that you need, as always, just reach out. Diane, thank you for being here representing Ascendus today. We really appreciate your time. We appreciate the work you do. And until next time.
No, thank you. Thank you. And looking forward to working together.
Wonderful. Thank you all.